Welcome, everyone, to what is this? What are we doing tonight? Books. Books are better than therapy. I'm like, what are we
Because
doing
they're
tonight?
cheaper and they make you happy.
That's right. We're doing a books event tonight. I'm just going to do an intro, Bridget. Bridget's really in charge of our live events. I don't know why I'm talking. Probably because I knew when the music was going to end. Welcome to our event tonight. I'm Elena Johnson and here with lots of other amazing authors. We've got a lot of people coming in, either on Facebook. We're broadcasting to lots of pages tonight. And I always like to get people talking in the comments when I do my live events. So I'm coming at you from Utah. I know we're going to be doing a bunch of introductions in just a second, but we like comments from Facebook. We're broadcasting to all author pages tonight, as well as some YouTube channels. So we've got people from Arizona, we've got people from North Carolina, we've got people from upstate New York, Billings, Montana. That's in my time zone, the forgotten mountain time zone that nobody ever remembers. I'm like, what about mountain? We exist, you guys. We exist. Oklahoma, Alabama, I see Oregon, Georgia. Any comment that you leave on any of our broadcasts, any author pages is going to come up here. We don't really know where it's coming from. I can see that this person commented on Facebook. I can tell if it's Facebook or YouTube, and that's about it. So yeah, if you've got questions along the way, we'd love to see those. Oh, we've got international, ladies. International tonight. Carolyn is from Canada.
Well, our authors are international because Carrie, aren't you in Canada?
No, close, but no.
Okay, where are you?
I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay, I was thinking up north. And I got ambitious. Way up north.
I'm close.
So anyway, I just wanted to remind you that you can put questions in. We want to see your comments as we're talking. We love talking to readers and know what their questions are. So the comment feature is active, enabled. And look, we have another Minnesotan. Is it Minnesotan? Minnesotian.
Minnesotan. I don't know.
Unless you're from Minnesota, then it's Minnesotan.
That's awesome. All right, so just wanted to mention that about the comments. We've got lots of those still coming in. Oh my heck, this is the second person from Utah. I'm also in Utah. That makes 3 of us. So I think we're killing it the most tonight.
I'm from Texas, and I can always get my Texans to shout out for Texas. Woohoo!
Oh, there's one. There she is.
California in the house.
So when I would do this every time there was a talent show, I'd sing the same song. And it's this state song, but it has this kid who's all nervous and then gets up and belts it out really fast at the end. And every single time I've ever done it, every single person in Texas cheers when they hear Texas. They know it. I mean, it got to where I just relied on it. I'm like, as soon as we get to Texas, everyone from Texas is going to cheer. And they never failed me.
Well, I'm originally from Texas.
See, there you go.
I think Texas is pulling ahead. All right, Bridget really leads our live chats. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
So Elena's saying that because Bridget has a big mouth and talks too much. And so they're like, if she's going to run all over everyone, we'll tell her she's in charge. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go around and introduce ourselves because a lot of you know a lot of things about us or a lot of things about our writing, but you may not know much about who we are when we're not behind a computer screen writing a book. So I don't know if this is the order for everyone, but Tess is right below me on my screen. So I thought if we just went counterclockwise, we can do Tess, Jan, Esther, and then wrap around Elena, Carrie, and come back to me. And I'll just go last so I can announce the next thing, or we can go over comments. Does that make sense? Is that fine? All right, Tess, tell us about yourself.
Hello.
I met Tess at a conference in the fall, and I literally met her, realized who she was, and started going, oh my, because a friend, actually the same thing happened with Jan. So a group of the 2 of them introduced me to both of them. And I was like, I've seen your beautiful books. I read one of Jan's. I was like, I'm so excited to be friends with you guys. And then they were really, really nice to me. I was like the golden retriever with her tail wagging. It's so nice to meet you. And so Tess has just been the fabulous, glamorous, cool person who's actually now hanging out with me. So I'm pretty excited. So Tess, why don't you tell us? She's in a new house too. And look at those beautiful windows.
I'm definitely not the coolest of the 6 of us, I'm pretty sure, but that's very sweet of you to say. I'm from Oregon originally, so hello to all the Oregon people. But I live in Washington State now in a suburb outside of Seattle. And I just moved into a new house, so that's been really exciting, but also very disruptive. But I'm coming to you from my new office, and I love it so much. And my husband has put bird feeders up around the windows, and so now the cats are obsessed, constantly watching for the birds and the squirrels. So that's been pretty fun.
I think that was Tess saying she's done.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much. So yeah, Jan's turn.
Okay. Well, I'm Jan Moran. I'm in Southern California in San Diego area, and spring is finally upon us. I'm so glad it rained for so long. And since I live just a few minutes from the beach, I write a lot of beach books. So this is probably the one that Bridget read, Sea Breeze Inn. So I write those. I write some historical fiction. And what do I like to do for fun? I love packing my bags and taking off. So in December, I spent a few weeks in South America. I was in Peru and Chile and Ecuador. And then I'm getting ready. I'm writing like mad right now because I've got a trip planned to Scotland. But my favorite place to write is actually on an airplane because there are no distractions. So whenever I need to really get a book done, I get on a plane and go somewhere. But just love to be here. Thank you so much, Bridget, for putting this together. And it's just wonderful to see all my old and new friends here, and lovely to see all the readers too. Thanks.
Actually, that's part of the reason we did it when we did. I literally messaged Jan and said, I know you're always going on a trip. You're probably going somewhere fabulous. And she said, well, just Scotland. And I said, oh, well, let's see if we can do this promo before Scotland.
Life is short. Take advantage of it.
We're living vicariously through you, Jan. So make sure you put up a lot of photos.
I will.
I think that's so funny, Jen, that you write well on an airplane, because I'm getting on an airplane on Sunday night to go to England. So it's a long one and I have to write, and I'm actually bad at writing on an airplane because I get there and I'm like, watch a movie. I never get to watch a movie. so I'm going to have to channel, no, it's time to write. So I also love to travel, and I'm really excited because this trip is actually like an author trip. My first like research, because I've been to England, but always like with my family, and they're not that excited about seeing all the Jane Austen sites and things. So I'm super excited about that. So a little bit about myself. I, besides writing, probably my biggest number one hobby is tennis right now. I didn't play it when I was younger, but like about the time I started publishing, which was 2018, I picked up my first racket. My husband had played when he was younger, and we started playing together, and it was like such a fun thing as a date night for us. I mean, once I got a little bit better, it's got a steep learning curve, but I'm super into tennis now. I have 4 boys that wish I wrote something else besides romance, but they're great. They do still read some of it, and my husband reads all of it, so we're good. But yeah, so that's I guess the most interesting things about me, maybe.
Esther was one of the first people that I met when I went to a writing conference. And she was such a delight that when we were looking for people for this, and I was talking to Tess and Jan, by the way, both write historical and contemporary. That's correct, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so we were looking for some other historical, so we'd have a good mix of historical and contemporary. And I thought the most fabulous historical writer I know, other than Tess and Jan, is Esther. So if we're going to assemble a team of 3 historical amazing women, then Esther needs to be on it. And so she mostly writes traditional, though. So we had to pull some strings and get some permission from publishers for her to join in. It took us a couple of days to get our approvals together, but we're pretty excited.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful for my publisher for letting me put that book up for free. It doesn't happen much, so grab your book.
Yeah, it's a
who
real
knows
shout
if
out
that
to
will
them.
ever happen again.
They were flexible. We were really impressed.
Yeah.
I thought I was. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right, Elena. Now we're up to you, superstar Elena.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's awesome. I didn't know that you had to get special permission. I'm going to go get it. I will go get the book. I really like reading historical. I just don't like writing it. So I got to get them while I can, I guess. I'm Elena Johnson. I write beach romance under this name. That's what we're doing tonight. Is Elena is going to be yourself. I have 2 kids. My son is 24. He just called me today, and I had to sit and listen to him while he literally talked himself through doing his taxes. So that was exciting. And then he's like, "Oh, my Southwest card is expired." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, my card expired. My car registration expired 2 months ago." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Go take care of all these adult things you need to do. Welcome to, adulthood." And then he called me back about an hour later. He's like, "Okay, I got a story. Don't be mad and don't laugh." I'm like, "What?" The story is usually one of those, not both. And he said, "I pulled out my driver's license because I could do my car registration online or whatever. And I thought it expired this year when I turned 25. It expired last year. He's been driving on an expired license for 8 months."
Adulting is hard.
Adulting is hard. He's a delight. No, he really is. He's awesome. And I have an 18-year-old daughter who's a senior this year. So she told me yesterday she has 18 A days and 18 B days left. So 36 school days. And then she'll be graduating. She's moving out to college in the fall. I work at home full time with my husband and 2 dogs. That pretty much describes my day right there. And when I'm not writing, I really like to do puzzles. I like to play word games. I like to sit in my massage chair. And I like to binge watch usually something crime drama-y. I just binged all of Breaking Bad, and then I binged Bad Sisters, and now I'm watching The Night Agent. So
We're watching that too.
yeah, I try.
We stayed up too late last night. We never stay up past 10, and we were up at 11:30. I'm like, what is going on? We just couldn't stop.
Yeah, I've decided I can only do 1 episode, and I have to be on the treadmill. That's my usual. I mean, I binged Breaking Bad in like 2 weeks, so I didn't do anything. All I did was watch TV. I was just in one of those places where that's what you do. Bridget sent me a K-drama. I only watched 1. Bridget, I tried.
It's not until episode 3. You never give them enough of a chance.
I tried. I really did try.
I know.
Anyway, I tried. And I switched over to The Night Agent. And I got on the treadmill every day this week. So I'm feeling good about that. Night Agent is really doing it for me. So that's kind of what I do when I'm not writing books. And a little bit about me. Oh, favorite food is potato chips. So, in case any readers are out there thinking, I'll get Elena a gift basket. Potato chip.
So we did have a couple of questions. I've seen Elena. She needs her potato chips when she's having a rough time. But Elena, we had a question I thought you'd be great to answer. And Mary Ellis asked, why do authors write under more than one name? And Elena has at least 4 pen names. So I feel like, or at least 4 names, her real name and then 3 pen names. Or I don't know if they're all pen names because we're writing under them. Maybe you know. Someone let Elena answer that.
So I do have 4 names. So I write beach romance under Elena Johnson because the beach is like my soul land form. Like we really just get along with each other. We feed each other's souls. So I have to write that. And then I write Christian cowboy romance under Liz Isaacson. And she was my first pen name. And Elena was writing sci-fi fantasy for Simon & Schuster and some other publishers. And I just didn't really feel like Christian cowboys went with dystopian novels. So that's why Liz was created. And since then, I've kept my name separate because I only want to write certain things under certain names. There's some business side aspects to it, like algorithms and recommendations that some of the big retailers do. And just brand recognition. Like when you see a Liz Isaacson book, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a Christian cowboy, 100% family saga. My other stuff isn't that. I write rom-coms under Donna Jeffries, and I write romantic women's fiction under Jessie Newton. So they just all have different scopes. They all have, I call it like writing in a trench. And I am all those people, and I write these things, but they don't really cross-pollinate. I have some readers who cross over. I have some people who are like, hey, I've read all of your books across all of your names. And I'm like, thank you so much, because it is me. Like the voice is going to be similar. The style is going to be similar. But really, it's a business decision for brand recognition. So somebody here said to separate genres. sometimes, I mean, I have 3 names writing in romance. So it's just because the romance genre is big and I'm writing under specific umbrellas that kind of go with that. So I want my Christian cowboys to be Christian cowboy, and I don't write anything else under that. And Elena writes a lot of different kinds of beach romance. She's kind of scattered. And my rom-coms are Southern rom-coms. They're set in Georgia or South Carolina. They're set in South Carolina. And my women's fiction is all Eastern Seaboard, stuff. It's off the coast of New York. So it just sort of depends. And every author is going to have a different answer for that. So this person also asked, Caroline, how many books have you written between all 4 names? I have about 190 books between all 4 names at this point. So I have a lot. So I don't know if anybody else wants to take it on. I know Bridget has 2 names.
But wait, Carrie hasn't introduced herself yet.
Oh,
we'll let her. We were just addressing these questions because they pertain to some of the introductions.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget.
We'll get to the 2 of us at the end. But I was going to say this would be a good chance. And that was the one I was going to ask you to pop up, Elena. So that's perfect to say if we have pen names, because I think some of the readers are wondering, did I miss some of your books? Are they under a different name? So Tess, why don't you start? And then when we do our introductions, Carrie and I can talk about ours. But we'll catch you and Elena's gone. But if the first 3 of you guys would tell us whether you have pen names and whether there are books they may be missing that are under something else. And then Carrie and I will answer that in ours.
Okay, well, I do not have pen names because I was not as smart as Elena was when I first started doing this. So I have both American historical series and American contemporary beach. I guess my stuff, I would say, is all small town, whatever era. And they're always set in the Pacific Northwest. I have a Northern California beach town series called Cliffside Bay, named after my husband, Cliff. And Emerson Pass, Emerson is my daughter, is—
That's so cute.
Is set in Colorado. And that's the one that has historicals and contemporaries in the same town with descendants of the original characters set 100 years apart. So that one's fun. And then Ella Point, my other daughter is Ella.
I was about to say, what about your other daughter? But
she was mad because she's like, how come I don't have one? I was like, I just haven't figured out the perfect one yet. But it is the 3rd in that series is releasing tomorrow. And that's been really fun. And that's my new historical. And it's sort of a matchmaker meets divine intervention meets family saga. It's pretty fun. I'm enjoying it.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. What about you, Jan? Do you write in more than one name?
No alter egos. I started with St. Martin's Press with historical fiction, 20th century historical, and I've written for some German publishers, The Chocolatier and Hepburn's Necklace, and then I went into contemporary, and again, I was not as smart as Elena, so I'm using the same pen name. Not to say there isn't an alter ego in my future. So
that's great. So, but if they've read the Jan Moran titles, they've read all of yours.
Yes.
Same for Tess. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what about you, Esther? Do you write under a name I don't know about?
Nope, not yet. I have one picked out if I ever go smutty, which I don't think I will. But it's there waiting just in case, which it's Hester Prim. So if you ever see Hester Prim,
you'll know that's Hester.
Oh, no.
You'll know that's me. Don't hold your breath. But just Esther Hatch for now.
That's so funny. All right, Carrie, we're finally to you. Tell us about yourself and also your pen names if you have any.
Okay, I do have a pen name. I write under Terry Blake. It's women's fiction. I wish I had more pen names because I write both historical and contemporary, and I wish I'd kept it separate. That would have been a smart thing to do, but I wasn't.
Elena and I are the only ones that don't write historical. All 4 of you guys do. That's great.
Let's see. I am a cat mom. I have 4 cats. I have 4 kids. I have a bunny, and he's the star of one of my books. I knit and I read a lot, and that's about my entire life, right there.
I like the symmetry. 4 kids and 4 cats, but you need 3 more rabbits now.
Well, that's so funny, Carrie, because my publishing company is called 4 Kids, 5 Cats. because when Cliff and I got married, we each had, I had 2 girls and he had 2 boys. I had 2 cats and he had 3. So we were 4 cats, 5 or 4 kids, 5 cats. But now we're down to only 1 kid and 2 cats. So
How did the cats get along when you got married? Did they mesh okay?
no, it was terrible. Shadow, which was one of Cliff's cats, was always trying to eat Mittens. So Shadow has recently been rehomed with my bonus son, Jeremy took her. And Mittens has been so much happier. She's like a new cat.
Wow. So what about you, Carrie? Do your cats all get along, all 4 of them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all pretty close.
Oh, that's exciting. Great. And what do you read when you read? Do you read what you write, or do you read something different?
I read a lot of things, contemporary, historical, Gothic, a lot of romantic suspense.
So a wide reader. That's fun.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, now I'll do my introduction, even though everybody's probably heard too much already from Bridget, but I'll give you my life summation too. I'm a lawyer and I practiced law for a long time, 10 or 12 years, and then decided I was done practicing law and started writing books. And it took me a while to find an agent, and then like 4 years of submitting books to publishers and going to acquisitions and never selling anything. I met Elena at a conference, and she convinced me that if I had 8 books sitting on a shelf, maybe I ought to try publishing one of them. And then shortly after that, I started putting out books. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I ignored a lot of good advice and made things harder on myself. That's kind of the story of Bridget's life. So that's my writing background. But my family, I have 5 kids, and the youngest is 6 and the oldest is 15. And it's boy, girl, 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 boy. And then I have 7 horses now and 3 cats. I just adopted a Bengal cat over Easter weekend. And then they live in the barn, but we have a really big tack room so they can come and go out of the, oh my goodness, that's my husband. What is he doing?
I was like, who is this troll?
My husband, I have a Facebook reader group. He gets in there and he posts and he reads all my books early, and he makes a lot of inappropriate comments and jokes. And he posts terrible YouTube videos that are like him doing book clubs with himself. It's he's pretty funny. Anyway, so there I have a hot bald hubby. That's how I describe him. And he's an ER doctor. And you know, I started out as a lawyer and now I'm a writer. So we're all wondering what his next career is going to be. And then I have 3 dogs, and one of my dogs just had puppies. Actually, one of the 3 dogs that I have is the daughter of my other dog. So I have a border collie and a pom, and then my second Pomeranian is Wicket's baby. We kept one from the last litter because I'm really stupid. And now my kids are like, which one of these 4 puppies are we keeping? I'm like, we're not keeping another one. We're already crazy. I look like an insane person. I also have 30 chickens. So it's like a zoo at our house. Basically, we call it Baker Farms. And so my kids are constantly going to dive practice, or they ride, my girls ride and I ride too. So we take lessons in English, jumping, and also Western. We mostly do reining. So those are our like horse disciplines for horse people out there. So I finally decided not that long ago to write a horse book. And the first one I wrote was The Bequest, because these people get a cattle ranch. And so there's a lot of horse stuff in it. And then I do write under a pen name. So I write under Bridget E. Baker and B.E. Baker. And my Bridget E. Baker is an eclectic mix of fantasy and into the world dystopian type stuff. And then B.E. Baker is women's fiction and romance. I don't stay in my lane. I should probably have a lot more names. But I wrote a stallion shifter, like a fantasy romance at the end of last year. Because if you know horses, you may as well write about them, right? So that's Bridget.
That's a lot of chickens.
I homeschool my younger 2 kids, but my older 3 are in school. So, and I just write during the day. I get my kids stuck on whatever homeschool task they have and then get my writing done. So
I like putting up the comments randomly. I feel like I have a lot of power. And so I'm pretty excited that I get to do that.
Oh, that is powerful.
I'm like, this is amazing.
I lay a lot of eggs for the person who asked about the eggs. So
yeah. I thought Bridget only had 4 horses. So I learned something tonight that she has 7. I knew she was leasing some others. I guess I just didn't count that.
Technically we own 5, but we lease 2 more. So anyone who knows horses will know that if you're leasing a horse, you're basically paying the vet bills, and then You're paying for everything for them. And we may be buying them at the end of the lease. We'll see. But we own 5 and we have 2 more that are like our responsibility. So a lot of times I'll say 5 and people are like, wait, what are all these? Who are these ones? I'm like, well, those are kind of ours too, but kind of not. So anyway, 5/7, something like that.
And then this came in. And so, I mean, I listed mine. Esther, Jan, and Tess don't have any. Bridget's is in her name, which the names show when we don't have comments on the screen, and Carrie's is Terry Blake. But if you guys, when we're done, if you want to check your pages and just list your pen names, or if you have any that question, I can't tell what page it came from. I just know it came from Facebook. So
Great.
Yeah. And then there was a question about how you choose your pen names, but we don't have to talk about that. We can move on to something else.
Yeah. So the pen names can be a fun process, but probably take us a little while to explain how we chose. So, and we don't want to keep everybody here forever. So Tess, how about you start? I thought it would be fun if we told everybody about the book that they're getting for free, because we do have quite a few people who have already signed up for our amazing giveaway. And in case we haven't said that on this live yet, the giveaway is this. A lot of giveaways, my problem, I don't like to enter giveaways usually, because you're entering a giveaway and then one person out of however many, 50, 100, 700, 2,000, whatever it is, one person gets something. So we were talking and we were like, why don't we do a giveaway where everybody gets something awesome? And so we all took a book that isn't free. For Esther's, we had to go through locks and permissions to get, the book. And we're getting you guys books for free. Everyone gets it. Every single person who enters the giveaway gets all 6 of these books. And then one person will win a Kindle Paperwhite. And so we're pretty excited about the giveaway. And we want to talk to you guys about the books we chose and what we were thinking when we wrote them and why we love them. So Tess, maybe you want to kick us off there and tell us why you chose your book and what it's about.
All right, so my book has come tomorrow, and it has a very Christmassy cover, but only part of it takes place during Christmas. So I'm actually having the covers redone because that bugs me, but the story will be the same. And
it's such a beautiful cover, though. I love it. When you said at first it was Christmassy, I'm like, it's a snow globe, but it's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, she did an amazing job with it. But anyway, it's a historical set in 1906, and it's basically about these 2 kids who meet each other. He's from a really wealthy family, and she is living in a shack raising her little baby sister because their mother passed away. And they have this kind of soul connection when they're young. And he's like 12 and or maybe he's 14 and she's 11. I can't remember. But anyway, they're young, too young to have a romance, obviously. But they feel this thing that happens between them. And then he gets sent away by his evil father. And years pass and they eventually come back together. And it's sort of a rags to riches for her. But it's also, there's a mystery in it, a lot of family drama type stuff. I absolutely love this book. And I had committed to my readers that they were going to get a new Castaway Christmas book every December. But so far, there's only been 2. But if you like the first one, there is a sequel with a new romance, but some of the same characters. And I'm hoping to write another one, hopefully this year. But it's one of my favorite books. I think it's a great introduction to my stuff if you haven't read me, because it's just all pure heartstrings and there's a dog in it and a reincarnation of a dog. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So anyway, I would love it if you guys, give it a try and let me know what you think.
Perfect. All right, Jan, what about you?
I love Tessa's books. I really do, because I love that historical bent. The one that I'm giving away is Sea Breeze Inn. And it's the first in my Summer Beach series, which has really grown because readers love it and I love my readers. So I keep writing in this Summer Beach world, which is a fictional town in Southern California, right on the beach. People say, well, where is it? We all want to go to Summer Beach. It's sort of a mashup between Del Mar, which is my local beach, Laguna Beach, and some of the others that are sprinkled up and down. Encinitas, Carlsbad, I used to live there, Coronado Island. So kind of a mashup, but a very small town. And so what happens in Sea Breeze Inn, it's 2 sisters One is recently widowed suddenly, and she's fairly young. She's in her 40s. And then her younger sister has just broken up with her boyfriend. And so they're moving back from New York and Boston, and they land in Summer Beach, where Ivy, the main character, Ivy's husband, had drained their retirement fund unbeknownst to her and was planning a second life with a younger woman. But, the karma got the best of him, and she got the house. So she lands in Summer Beach. It's a decrepit old home he was planning on tearing down, but it was designed by the first female architect in California, Julia Morgan, who also designed Getty's Place up on the coast. And so what I like to do, even though it's fiction, I love to bring in true historical elements. So you'll find things, about Julia Morgan. You'll find things about some artists from World War II, a lot of paintings. Well, I won't say any more than that. I won't give anything away. But Ivy is an artist, and she's also finding her way. And that's really the common theme in all of my books, are women of a certain age starting over. Even in my younger Love California series, they're in their late 20s and early 30s. And even they are, they're making lemonade out of lemons that life has thrown at them. So I love the concept of reinvention. I think we all get a second chance at life, a second, third, fourth, whatever it takes. And I love to see women pull themselves up by their bootstrings and say, you know what, I can do this. And so that's really an ongoing theme throughout my books. They're fun, they're pretty clean reads, and I just have a wonderful time writing them. So thank you.
And one thing that Jan never says about herself, but I have to say, not only is she one of the smartest and kindest and brightest people you'll ever meet, but also she's a Harvard alum. And I never hear her say anything about it, but this is one smart woman, and you can tell when you read her books. They're so smartly written.
Well, I'm curious. And so I love to, when I read books, I love to learn something too. I like to have a good story, but I like to learn something. So I really do work to get the details right. And, wherever I travel, I'm always bringing information back in. So I'm sure there will be some tidbits from Scotland and Wales.
I was about to say, do we see a book from Scotland coming?
Yes. I got some of Chile in my last book, Beach View Lane, that just came out. So yeah, it all sneaks in, goes into that giant mix master, and away we go.
That's awesome. All right, Esther, tell us about yours. I've read yours too. I've read Jan's and Esther's, but I haven't read Tessa's yet. So that one's still on my list.
Nice job, Bridget. That's awesome. My book is A Proper Scandal, which, here's a little funny note about it. The original title that I submitted was called The Reluctant Seductress, which I still love that title, but it kind of didn't quite go with it's a pretty squeaky clean read. I mean, pretty quick, not like nothing, but so then that kind of describes the story just a little bit better, The Reluctant Seductress. So in my story, Grace is an orphan, and she's been living with some people, but she gets kind of kicked out, not in like a mean way or anything, but she decides to go live with her aunt, and come to find out like her aunt is in a bad situation as well. And so she's given this ultimatum that she has to get married in 2 weeks. So she's not only told that, she's told which man she needs to kind of seduce and trick him into marrying her. So the whole kind of plot is based up in that she's got to kind of catch him in a scandalous position so that someone can find them and force them to get married, and so that she can be out of this terrible situation as she's in. So at first she doesn't really do it. She tries to find ways out of this. But then she meets the man, and he's actually a pretty decent character. And so eventually, partway through the book, she realizes like this really might be my best bet, is to actually go after him. But she's a terrible seductress. She doesn't really want to do it. She isn't really trying to cause a scandal, but she does want to try and probably marry this guy because it's her best chance at getting free of all their other stuff. So it's the first in what I call my Proper Scandal series. I'm working on the 4th now, which is really fun. And they're pretty lighthearted. This one's a little bit less than the next two. The middle one's the most lighthearted, like romantic comedy-esque. But they all have a little bit of that element. And it's set in 1846 England. So it's a Victorian romance. I probably should have said that first. The whole plot makes a little bit more sense when you know about that. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, Esther, but I got to read it as an ARC. We had just met and your book was coming out. And so I got to read that one. I have a paperback copy of it in my library somewhere. I got to see if I can find it because my girls have read it too. My girls all love to read everything. So
yay.
Anyhow,
that was the one thing that when I switched the name, I wasn't sure about. I was sad to lose the Reluctant Seductress. And then my friend's 14-year-old daughter was reading it and she's like, Mom, what's a seductress? I was like, okay, maybe it was okay. Because it's pretty appropriate for any age, so anyway, I thought that was kind of like, okay, maybe my publisher knows best.
It also sounds hard to say. So I think a proper scandal rolls off the tongue a little smoother when people are saying it too.
That works really well until you read the 3rd book in the series, which is called A Proper Scoundrel. And then you're like, so what? Apparently I can't get over the tongue twister, but yeah.
I love it.
Good job. All right, Elena, you're up with the relation trip that just came out.
I brought my book. Well, I grabbed it off my front table. And mine isn't the same as Jan's. It looks weird. Why is mine like that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. My book is a standalone. So if you're not looking to get into a series, you want to read this book this weekend, this is the book for you.
I'm reading it right now and it's awesome.
Oh, thank you, Tess. You're so nice. It's contemporary romance. It's a vacation romance. I've wanted to write a vacation romance for like 5 years now because it was a vacation for me to write it from having to keep. So under Liz Isaacson, I write massive family sagas. I'm about to release book 6 in my current series. It's actually book 7. The first book is a free book 0. And so I have 5 full books. Book 6 is coming out on Tuesday. And I have to keep track of these 9 brothers and all of their love interests. They're all single dads. They all have kids. That's a lot of work for Elena. And so she piles all that work onto Liz Isaacson, who writes those books. And she needs a vacation. And so that's where the relationship came from. And so the relationship sort of started a few years ago. I'd been reading some, vacation romances and standalones. And I'm like, I want to write a standalone so bad. And it just, I have a lot of names and a lot going on, and I just never could do it. And then this cover came up in a pre-made group. And I was like, that's it. I want that cover. But of course, I had put myself on a pre-made cover fast. I have an addiction to buying pre-made covers. And so I had put myself on a freeze. And I actually honored it. I didn't buy it. And then like a week later, I checked on it and it was still there. And I was like, oh my gosh, nobody's bought it. I didn't buy
everyone
it.
else it's like shoes, but for Elena it's covers because she's like, I do put out like 3 books a month. So I mean.
So after about a month, it was still there. And I thought, you know what? This is a sign that I need this cover. And I bought it. I bought it in like August of 2021. So I've had it for a long time. And finally last year, I thought if I don't put this pre-order up, I'm never going to write it. So I put it up for August, a year out. And then in January, I was in between Cowboys and stuff and my next beach romance. And I thought, I have time to write this book. And so I did. I wrote it in 10 days when I was in Grand Cayman. My book is set in Belize, so it's not Grand Cayman, but I figured it was pretty close. Like, the same sea touches them or something. So the Gulf, whatever. I was like, it's pretty close. And it's a friends to lovers book, which is my favorite trope. I like friends to lovers more than enemies to lovers because I feel like in enemies to lovers, there's a ton of miscommunication and assumptions. And in friends to lovers, they actually know each other and they know each other for real. And they aren't making assumptions. They're actually just have this wonderful idea of the other, but they're really worried about their own vulnerability. So that's what I love. So it's friends to lovers and they're opposites. It's a little bit opposites attract as well. And they go on a vacation together every year. So if you've read Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation, It has vibes similar to that, except there's no sex and there's no swearing. So her books have sex and swearing. My books are clean and wholesome and they don't have that. But I knew I wanted to write a one bed trope book because I kind of think that's kind of exciting and clean and wholesome romance. And so I wanted to do that. And then as I was writing, it's about Sloan, who is a real estate agent, and she's buttoned and put together at work. But when she goes on vacation, she just lets her best friend take care of her. So Logan takes care of her. He's very good at taking care of her. He's a romance novelist, and he has not told anyone except his sister that he's a romance novelist. So he wants to tell Sloan that he's a romance novelist. Oh, and P.S. I've been in love with you for 2 years. So it's unrequited love as well. He's in love with her. He wants to. One of them lives in Superior. Carrie will like this. Because we went to Superior, and I'm like, I gotta write a book about someone who lives here. I mean, they then go to Belize. There's no mention of Superior until the very end, and it's winter, and I'm like, and the snow is terrible. That's about it. But one of them lives in Superior, and one of them lives in Pittsburgh. And Logan lives in Superior, and he tells Sloan, I want to move to Pittsburgh. Like, I'm thinking about moving there. And she's like, why would you want to do that? And he's like, because I'm in love with you, duh. And so it takes some time for him to work up the nerve to tell her that he's in love with her. And then from there, we're doing couples massages and beach drinks and tiki night and all the fun beach stuff that you get to do when you're at a all-inclusive, adults-only resort in Belize. And one thing that I really like to do, my books are clean and wholesome, but I like a really, really hot first kiss. So whenever people ask me what I write, I tell them I write clean romance, sweet romance, but there's way more kissing than Hallmark, way more. So, because I'm like, there's a lot of kissing. And so as I was writing the book and they're going along and he's finally told her and they're doing all this stuff, like, I got to give them a really hot kiss. I really want them to kiss in the shower. I'm like, they can't kiss in the shower. Why would they be in the shower together? That's never going to work out. And it just wouldn't let go. The idea wouldn't let go. Finally, I was like, oh, you know what they have in beaches, outdoors? Showers. So Sloan and Logan have their hot shower kiss on the beach while they're clothed, but it's still really hot. And I think if you like romance, then you'll probably like it. It's contemporary, it's vacation, it's one and done. I'm not keeping track of the brothers and the sisters and the dogs and the horses and the kids. And
don't forget the chickens.
No chickens.
I feel you on that one. Oh, people ask me, well, can't Emerson Pass keep going? I'm like, there's no way I can. The family tree is out of control already. Like, it's ripe for mistakes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's just, it was a vacation for me. I loved writing it. It's about 70,000 words. And so to write that in 10 days while you're on vacation, it just was a book that just flowed out of me. And I loved writing it and I loved the characters, and it was a fabulous vacation. So I hope that people who've read it, or if you pick it up, you can get it for free in this giveaway. Oh, I was going to put that back up. I did comment, and apparently I have more power than I knew. I commented this link in the comments, and I commented as all of you on all of your pages. So you're welcome. When you see that, you'll be like, whoa, 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 I didn't leave that comment. That was the all-powerful Elena. She did that for me.
With technology. But Elena,
if you just go to subscribepage.com/books are better than therapy, that's the name of our chat and our event tonight. You should be, I didn't want to cover up Tess. She was talking and I thought that was so rude. And I was like, well, I'll just wait till Tess isn't talking anymore. Yeah, you guys feel like, can you still hear? You have a chance to get all of these books. Tess's, Jan's, Esther's, and mine, and Carrie and Bridget are going to talk about theirs as well. So I will stop and turn the time over to Carrie.
But Elena, I don't know if you got the memo. When you go on vacation, you're not supposed to work.
I know.
You don't have to work.
And I'm just like Sloan. When I go on vacation, I want somebody else to take care of me. So my husband plans all the events. He takes care of all the food. He drives us around. Literally, I'm like, someone to go right by the pool. He's like, okay. Great. So we'd go he's like, I think we're going to go to Spots Beach today. I'm like, great. Can I bring my little keyboard?
But when you're traveling that and not doing anything, that's when all the ideas start bubbling up, because you're not at your computer saying, right.
That's why writers' retreats work so well, because there's no pressure.
Yeah. Yep. And Carrie knows this. I went on a writing retreat with her, and literally I would just be like, text me when dinner's ready. Because when I leave my house, I'm like, and somebody now needs to take care of me because I don't take care of myself when I travel.
So funny. All right, Carrie, let's hear it. Tell us about yours.
I can't go after Elena. That was excellent. I want to go leave and get her book. But actually the story that I'm giving away was kind of birthed when I met Elena last summer at the writing retreat up in Superior. Because there was a bunch of Western authors there. It was Elena, it was me, it was Mandy Blake. Was there other Western authors there? I don't remember. Anyway, it was just ripe for Western authors, and there was a lot of good energy.
Yeah, Laura does historical, doesn't she? Do mail order brides?
Yes. Lauren.
Yeah, Laura Ashwood does mail order brides. Shatona does Westerns, doesn't she?
She wrote one.
Okay.
One historical, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Lauren writes mostly historical, I think, but I think she's moving into more contemporary, and that's fun. She only lives like 2.5 hours from me. So anyway, this story was actually, I had so many historical books on my backlist. I needed some contemporaries because I have a book coming out with love-inspired suspense in October. It is called Deadly Yellowstone Secrets. And so I wanted to write a book that was true to my Western readers, because I have so many Western readers, but it needed to be contemporary, and it also needed to be suspense. So what my book Operation Restoration is about is it is 7 veterans who have come together on a ranch in Montana, and they are there not only to heal themselves, but it is a recuperation ranch for people who have been victims of human trafficking. So not only the victims are not main characters. I didn't want that heaviness in the story. I wanted this to be definitely second chance. All 7 books in the series will be second chance romances, because the very first guest who comes in challenges the owner of the ranch, because he says that the whole point of being there is to restore them to relationships, and not necessarily like romantic relationships, but relationships in general, because these are very damaged people. And so she challenges him to fix his own damaged relationship. And he passes that on to all the men at Wayside Ranch. And so the very first one, it just came out in January, and that's the book that I'm giving away. And it's been really, I've been getting a lot of very good response for it. I'm enjoying it a lot.
That sounds awesome. I am, Elena will tell you this, that I take the opportunity when these come up to sign up for all the books myself. So the nice thing is that I then get my fellow author newsletters, which gives me ideas for what to say in my newsletter. I'm always like, what do I say now? But also I get to read a lot of my friends' books, which reading used to just be what I did all the time. And now that I write all the time, I have to find time. It's usually Elena's writing on vacation, and apparently so is Jan on the plane, but I don't do that. I'm like Esther. I'm like, I'm on the plane. I'm on vacation. I'm going to read 19 books. And so my husband will be like, what are we doing? I'm like, I don't care. We're on a cruise. Let me know when it's time for dinner. I'm going to read until then. So they're all writing things. I'm reading. So I'm pretty excited. I picked all these up, and I have already read 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I haven't read Come Tomorrow, so I need to read Tessa's and Carrie's, but I've read the other 3. So it was good to get 2 new ones to read. I'm excited. So my submission for this one, I guess I should grab one because I do have it. Mine is The Bequest. And someone asked earlier, I don't know if they're still on, but someone asked if any of these feature widows. And mine has 2 widows. So The Bequest is actually, you know, I'm a lawyer, so I tend to probably put in a little too much detail about the legal stuff. But my legal stuff's always right. My book is about 2 widows because my brother passed away when I was younger than I am now. He was 24 and married. And so his widow and I obviously spent a lot of time talking and are good friends. And one of my really friends away. And when I was talking to her about it, I didn't know her husband's brother, but he passed away a year before. And she said, my sister-in-law and I weren't close, but after both of our husbands passed, we got to be really close because we suddenly had something in common and started talking a lot. And that kind of gave me an idea. And around the same time, because I don't do as much law, but I still get stuck doing some, one of my clients has a family ranch, and it's been in their family since the land grant. And the way it was passed along was, as long as someone in the family wants to run the ranch, it can't be sold or split. And none of the siblings are upset about it, but that's the way it is. So one of the brothers runs the ranch. And as I was talking to the members of this family to get some stuff done that they wanted me to do with regards to the ranch, I had this idea. And I said, I don't know a lot about a cattle ranch, Doug. How would you feel if I badgered you for hours and asked you a lot of questions about cattle ranches? Because in the bequest, you have this great uncle of these two guys who have passed. And he passes away and he leaves this massive cattle ranch, which I just picked theirs, which is the Birch Creek Ranch. So it's a real ranch. And I got to go out and see it. And I picked that ranch and I said, this ranch is going to go to my, nieces and nephews if they come work it for a year. If they don't, it's going to be sold and go to this charity of my choice, which is an alien foundation, because I thought that would be funny. Anyway, and so these people, one of the widows is a lawyer in Houston, and I'm a lawyer in Houston, so I felt like I could compellingly write that. And she has 4 kids. And what was funny, because before I wrote it, I thought, what I never see in these are people with a lot of children. And when I started writing the book, I was like, oh, Bridget, you dope. Now I know why. I should have known. This is my first book. There's too many people to keep track of. There's so many people and they're everywhere. But I'm like, why don't any of these have, kids, lots of kids and different personalities? And so sometimes I get a lot of comments and reviews that say, the kids all had different personalities. And I'm like, yeah, the one lady has 4 kids. The other lady has 2. So I literally did my 5 kids and a cousin. So they were really easy to keep straight because I straight up stole the personalities from my children. But anyway, so they end up going, neither of them want to go. The influencer in New York and her 2 children don't want to go. And the lawyer with the 4 kids does not want to go. She's about to make partner. And her son, basically the lawyer for her side, what happens is this guy who she's known forever and is a partner at the firm confesses to her that he's in love with her. And she's so uncomfortable about it that she's like, And the same time her son that's a senior and is about to graduate comes and says, she's like, how come all of our friends are getting like school acceptance letters? We need to reach out to your schools. And he confesses that he didn't apply and he's not planning on going to college. So she freaks out. She's a lawyer. Her husband was a lawyer. You have to go to college. If you don't go to college, your life is over. And he says, I overheard you on the phone and I know that we can get this ranch. That's what I want to do. And she's like, we're not doing that. You're a minor, so I can sign it away. Bye-bye. And he says, look, I'll make you a deal. You want me to go to college? I want to go try out this ranch. We go for the summer. If I can convince you, we'll stay. And if I can't convince you, then I'll go to college. And so that's how they end up there for the summer for the lawyer. And then the influencer is trying to land an account. And what's funny is in reviews, sometimes I get dinged for this, but I made the name of the account. She's trying to land Lolo Lime. In the world of Bridget, this is hilarious because I feel like anyone knows what Lolo Lime is, but I can't get tagged for it. We wear a lot of Lolo Lime at our house. So anyway, so she's trying to land the Lolo Lime account and they want her to be more personable because all of her posh and fancy stuff, her influencer account is called Champagne for Less. And so she's supposed to be more accessible to the average person. And one of my friends, her sister-in-law is an influencer. So I badgered her on the phone for a lot of time as well. She's wonderful. And so they helped me not step on any landmines, but it was really kind of fun to write these women. And, the story has their kids in it and it's women's fiction, but it has a really strong romantic subplot. And there's a almost first kiss in which she falls in a lake. And there's a lot of kind of crazy stuff that happens. And most of the animal stuff is right because I have all the animals almost written about, except for the cattle. And I did my research on that. My husband grew up with cattle. So I thought it was fun to write, because when I met my husband, I didn't know anything about farming or animals or any of that. And so he's like, let's get chickens. And I was like, chickens? What kind of person do you think you marry? And then I ended up with lots of chickens and I love them. They're mine. They're not even my husband's. They all have names. They're my babies. So, the city girl turned rancher is, I'm not really a rancher, but that's kind of me. So it was pretty easy and fun to write, I thought. So that is the bequest. Now, I don't know about all of you ladies. We had kind of talked about doing an hour and we're coming up on an hour. So I thought it would be fun if we could talk about the project we're working on or our next new release or some other project. But if you guys don't have time and you can't stick around, I understand if we need to shut it down sooner. What do you guys think? Are you okay with talking about our next project a little bit?
I can for a few minutes, but
Okay.
I can't do another whole half hour, but
That's
I could
fine.
do
So
10.
Esther, do you want to go first? And that way, if you need to bow out, you can.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
let's let you start then, and then we'll go back to Tess. Is that okay?
Okay. That sounds great. So right now, and I'm just like laughing at Elena finishing a book in 10 days because I'm like, I am trying to finish the 4th book in my Proper Scandal series, which does not have a title quite yet. I mean, I have one I'm using, but I don't want to say it because I don't really like it. So it'll probably change. But I'm really excited to put this one out because that series, it has 3 books in it now. They're all standalones. But the 3rd one was highly anticipated and just had a character I just loved. And I had never really planned to write this character, which is the brother of one of the girls that gets married in the 2nd book. So I kind of passed him over because of an early draft. I asked someone like, do you think I need to write this story? Because if so, I'll do his 3rd and this other book last, because I wanted it to, like, my 3rd book to be last. Anyway, they were like, no, it's fine. Just write A Proper Scoundrel next and don't worry about this one. But then I write a very sloppy first draft where it's kind of like my outline phase. And then I have to go deep in everything. So they had read the outline phase of that book and that character got a lot more interesting. And now people really were wanting his story. So I'm like, okay, I'll write it. It'll be like a bonus book. So it's been almost 3 years since I've had something. Well, it hasn't been. It will be that at least when it comes out, because it has to go through the traditional publishing of like sitting like at the publisher for a few months and then more months of editing with them and things. So that'll be a big break in that series, but I'm super excited to have it come out. I also have indie books in Kindle Unlimited. And if that's some of the listeners here are into that, I started a Victorian rom-com series. The first in that is called Manor for Sale, Baron Included. And that was just so much fun for me to write. It's straight up tried to channel all my rom-com vibes of like a modern day rom-com, but put in the past. So like, not like with modern language or anything, but the whole plot is very similar to what you'd find in a modern day rom-com. She's fixing up a house that she bought from this baron, and the baron wants the house back, and he decides he's going to stick around near her and try and woo her and marry her so he can get the house back. So yeah. So that's what I'm working on, and a little bit about the books that I'm working on.
I have to say that Esther's, I read all of her Proper Scandal series as they came out. And each time I thought, this is sort of like a rom-com for historical. I mean, that's how they read. Yeah. They're lighthearted and they're fun. And they do get funnier as they go, like she said, but they're funny. So when she came out with a historical rom-com, I was like, I don't know. I'm not big into historical, so maybe that's common, but I hadn't seen it before. And I was like, this is exactly where Esther should be.
Yeah, it's getting more common for sure. And I wouldn't say, I definitely was like not the first, like Mr. Malcolm's List that's got a movie. It's definitely that vibe. But like, it's definitely getting more common, I would say. And it's fun because it kind of goes well. Regency in general has always been a little bit comedic. I feel like a lot of banter and stuff. So I think it vibes well. Victorian rom-com is kind of weird because Victoria in general is a little, usually more subdued, a lot more class interactions. But I love the Victorian era, so I did it anyway.
Perfect. Tess, how about you tell us about either what you're working on or what your next new release you want to talk about? Pick something and share it.
Yeah, sure. I actually literally sent a book off to my editor like 15 minutes before we all got together. And that is my new series. It's called The Mystery Matchmaker of Ella Point. Ella, my daughter. And it's the first of the series is actually free. It's a little prequel novella. So if anybody wants to check that out, it's called The Making of a Matchmaker. And so you could grab that one and just see if I pull you in. It's a murder mystery, but also romances. And it's an interfering mother decides to match her children who are all kind of a little bit odd. And she's despairing that they will ever marry. But so it's just kind of fun, but there's also some pretty serious themes about abuse and childhood trauma and that sort of thing. But they're also still pretty light and very sweet. I always have a lot of they're not necessarily Christian romances, but I have a lot of faith themes in my books just because that's who I am. And so a lot of like the suspended disbelief or whatever they call that of how would these matches actually ever work? I feel like that's answered by well, God has something to do with it. So that's how I worked it out for myself. But anyway, so that series will be complete this year. So I'm putting them out pretty quickly, and I'm excited about it because people seem to be really liking them. So so there's the prequel. There's book 1 that's already out. That's The Bookish Bride, and the one that comes out tomorrow is The Reluctant Bride. A match for
Congratulations. That's exciting tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great. So I woke up today. I was like, didn't my book release today? And then I was like, wait, no, it's not. Well, it's the 13th. Okay, I'm good. Anyway, so that's my stuff.
That's awesome. Hey, Elena, I feel like I stepped on your toes. You put up a comment. Someone had asked about Audible. And I know all of my books are on Audible. I can't speak for everyone. I'm assuming they are. You guys want to say whether your books are on Audible?
I just thought if we're talking about our next project, you can just be like, and yes, I have books on Audible. Like, check out my name or whatever.
Okay, that sounds great. So Tess, are yours on Audible?
Yes. Not everything, but most.
What
Mine
about
are
you,
all-
Esther?
Yeah, mine are all on Audible. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Jan?
Yes,
How about you tell
mine
us
are on
about-
Audible too, and Kobo, and just about everywhere else you can think of. So I'm a wide author, and that means selling everywhere people like to read as much as I can. I've even got a new store opening next week, so you can buy those audiobooks directly from me before they hit Audible. Sometimes it takes Audible a while to get the books out. What I'm working on now is the second in my new series, which is called Crown Island. And my first book came out just last month. And that was called Beachview Lane. I love the cover. I wish I had it here with me, but I sent out my last copy to a reader. And but Beachview Lane, this one is called Sunshine Avenue. And for the person who asked if we have any protagonists who are widows, the answer is yes. My father passed away when I was 7, so I grew up with a widow. My mother never remarried, and so I remember very vividly what she went through and how she handled it, both the good things, the bad, everything in between. Elena, my mother used to say things like, oh, my license is expired and the tag's on my car. And am I supposed to deal with this? Because my father had always dealt with it. And there was a very clear division of duties in the household. So suddenly she was the one who had to do everything. And I do write a lot about widows, the perfumer, the chocolatier, my entire Summer Beach Seabreeze Inn series, the Coral Cottage series. Some have just lost their husband. Others, like the Coral Cottage, it's been a long time. Others are just going through it, such as in the perfumer. That's a World War II saga, so she's just going through it. And in Sunshine Avenue, she's a very young widow. She was only, I think, 32 when her husband passed away, and he was the love of her life. So the series started with the mother, who was recently divorced, and then her 2 daughters. They're coming up in their next 2 books. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. So
is that the series that has it's a beautiful cover with a bike?
Yes, that's the one.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I'm like, I think that's the bike one. I had cover envy when I saw it. And I'm like, I bet that's the bike one.
I'll have to put that up in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, you will, because it's such a beautiful cover. More people need to see it. So that's great. All right, Elena, I think we're to you.
Yeah, so I'm writing 2 books right now, really just based on how I feel, because I'm coming off 2 weeks where I didn't write at all and literally laid in bed and ate candy and watched TV. So
those books will be done in 14 days, right? Is that or was it 20-ish days?
20-ish. We're hoping. One of them has to be done in like 10. I'm hoping it's done before you come to Utah next week.
No.
Bridget's coming to Utah on Friday. I'm like, this book has to be done before then.
Bridget doesn't shut up. She wrecks all my writing.
It's Wednesday already. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm
Well, if
writing
that book ends up with a lot of chickens, we'll know what happened. You didn't finish the book.
That is correct.
One of her characters goes to get bingsu because every night she's like, "Are you writing?" I'm like, "I'm getting more bingsu."
I put the bingsu in Gabriel. Gabriel comes out on Tuesday. So thanks, Bridget, for the bingsu. I'm writing a book called The Seaside Strategy. It's part of my Hilton Head series. So last year I released 3 Hilton Head books: The Love List, The Paradise Plan, and The Beach Blueprint. Oh, I just lied. Book 3 is The Seaside Strategy. I'm writing Beach Blueprint right now. I really am. I know what book I'm writing, you guys. I know what book I'm writing. I'm writing The Beach Blueprint. And they're part women's fiction and they're part clean beach romance. It's a supper club of 6 ladies who end up relocating from the coastal bend of Texas to Hilton Head Island, each one of them finding love in their mid-40s along the way. And honestly, it's not going well. That's why the candy and TV watching in the bed at night. And I got an email from the guys at Plotter today. So as authors, we use some software and stuff to help us sometimes. One of those is called Plotter, and you kind of can put your plots in. It helps you get your stuff where it's supposed to go. And I got an email that said, "Are you lacking GMC, goals, motivation, or conflict? Is your conflict boring?" And had this picture of The Rock yawning. And I was like, I feel attacked. So I'm probably going to sign up for the GMC class because my book feels really boring right now. I'm like 20,000 words in, and I'm like, why can't there just be more kissing? And anyway, so I'm writing that. It's going really well, as you can tell. And it's going to be really beachy. And he's a landscape architect, and she is finishing up her teaching degree and thinks that she's going to move to South Carolina because she's going to fall in love with Scott. Spoiler alert, it's a romance. So that's what I'm working on. And my other book I'm writing is Gem. So I just finished Gabe. He comes out Tuesday. So my Liz Isaacson name is writing the next brother in that series, and his name is Gem. And he just broke his wrist. So whatever speaks to me during the day, I'm writing because I just need the words. The Beach Blueprint comes out at the end of May. Gem comes out beginning of June. So I just have to get the words wherever they're speaking to me. So that's what I'm doing right now. Oh,
I don't know that many people that can keep all those books straight.
Oh, whoops. I'm putting this one up because it makes me feel better.
I saw that too. I was like, oh my gosh.
So thank you.
Well, so the book that I was just writing, I was having trouble a couple of times because I'd be writing and then I'd be like, crap, this is from the other person's point of view. And I have to go back like 4 paragraphs. That's never happened to me before. I'm like, I might be tired because I'm regularly having to go back and fix point of view problems. Like, I thought this is the girl, but it's the guy. So hang on, 6 paragraphs deleted.
It's frustrating, I know.
All right, Carrie, tell us what you're working on.
Okay, I'm working on the sequel to Operation Restoration. It's called Operation Return. And this one is a secret baby romance.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. I love a secret baby. Besides Friends to Lovers. So obviously it's my favorite.
Yeah. Well, and yes, it's Friends to Lovers and it's Secret Baby. So
it's both.
I'm going to just send you a copy. And so that's the contemporary one I'm working on right now. And then the historical that I'm working on right now is called Bullseye Bride. And I'm really excited about that one because I'm writing with a bunch of ladies from the Petticoats and Pistols blog, including Karen Whitemeyer and Linda Brode and Pam Cooks. And there's a bunch of us, and it's really fun. And it's about this pink pistol that was from Annie Oakley, and it gets passed to various ladies, and whoever holds this pink pistol activates love in her life, and it's really a fun premise, and I'm having a fun time writing it. So.
That sounds awesome. Comments where people are saying, these sound great. I love Friends to Lovers. I love those 2 tropes. So I was like, oh, yes. And they're asking if our books are clean and wholesome. So I was responding and saying, I think everyone's are. I don't think there's anyone who's not. So I think all of us are in the clean and wholesome category.
I just wanted Bridget to answer that really quick before she starts telling us what she's working on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think all 6 of us, I saw everybody nodding. I think we're all in the clean and wholesome category. And I don't know about everyone, so this might be another question, but mine, it's not very common to have fantasy romance and fantasy books that are clean. Mine are. So both of my pen names is everybody, like Elena listed 4. I'm pretty sure all 4 of hers are clean and wholesome. Yes. I think, Carrie, are yours? Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, yep. All of us, all the pen names we've listed, all good to go on that.
I'm the only one with a secret.
I know. Yes, so you can look for
spicy pen
or whatever. At some point, you might find some steamy stuff.
Not yet, but I'm going to seek out Bridget. Is that okay? And I just wanted to say bye really quickly.
Bye, Esther.
So, thank you so much, and thanks for including me on this. And thank you to everyone who came. Sorry to miss the goodbye, but I've got to sneak off to some family stuff. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks, Esther.
Bye.
Bridget,
Bye.
you'll have to tell me.
Anyway.
You'll have to tell me personally what you're working on.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm pretty excited. My readers all want book 6 in the Birch Creek Ranch series. But as some of the ladies were talking about here, the Birch Creek Ranch series starts out with 2 women point of view characters. I shouldn't even tell you guys because no one likes this, but the second book has a 3rd. So it's actually 3 point of view characters in each book, and they all have kids and they have love interests. And so there are just a lot of characters. And so I love writing them, but I also write really, really long. Like, I think The Retreat is the one that I remember that I did most recently. It's like 525 pages or something. It's 140,000 words. And so for me to get, because it's so many storylines, and what I do with my books is the book, The Bequest, is about that original will bequest. The second one's called The Vow. And each of the 3 main point of view characters have a promise. And during the course of the book, you find out whether they upheld their promise or didn't. And there's the overall story arc, and then there's the series arc, and then they follow along with that particular book. And the next one is the ranch. And so something important happens with the ranch or a ranch for everyone in the book. And then the 4th one's called The Retreat. So it's about a retreat that is going to be built in the area, but it's also about advancing and retreating in our life and our relationships. And then, so people will be like, well, 145,000 words, you should just split that into 2 books. And I'm like, I mean, commercially I should, but as an artist, I can't, because that's not the story. You guys have probably all been there where you're like, the story took 145,000 words. So I should be writing the last Birch Creek Ranch book. And I was working on the outline because I've already finished this other one. But I just finished and sent it to my editor the Saturday before Easter. My editor loves me. I'm the best. Anyway, I sent it to my editor right before Easter. I'm writing a new series that is going to come out May 1st. And this book's called Seed Money. And it is a women's fiction-y romance. So it is a romance. It does alternate guys and girls. But this one, so my women's fiction are, and not that to say that they have to be, but my women's fiction are women's point of view, all women's point of views. My romance titles tend to alternate guy and girl. And so this one is, I had the idea to do a series that follows, I almost adopted 2 girls. And I have been a foster parent and involved in the foster system. And so it's dear to me. And I wanted to write a story that starts with a couple and they become foster parents. And then I write the love story of each of the foster kids. So you get all the different foster siblings and their dynamics and their past history. And then I also really like the combination of money with no money. People that didn't have money and earned money, people that got an inheritance, people that were raised with money, people that were raised with nothing, and the different perspectives and how those interplay. So the first book that is already written is called Seed Money. And that one is the foster couple, like the 2 people that fall in love that become the foster parents. And that one was really fun to write. I was worried that it would feel like a bummer, but I've heard back from a bunch of ARC people, and my husband just finished it. He's been texting me about it all day. And the main character's grandmother is a famous movie star. Let's just say it's Audrey Colburn instead of Audrey, something that starts with an H. And so she's beautiful and wonderful, and her family had a lot of money. But on a vacation that they went on together, there was a terrible accident, and she's the only one who survived. So her whole life, she's been told how lucky she is. Her name is Serendipity. And she's like, it's a cosmic joke. I'm like the opposite of lucky. People are like, you're so lucky you survived. She's like, it wasn't luck. I'm the only one alive. They're all gone. Like, I'm the most unlucky person you've ever met. So at the beginnings, she starts going by Saren because she's like, I'm sick of being called Serendipity. I'm not lucky. Like, call me Saren. So she goes by that, and she has to sell her family home, which she loved. It was her grandmother's mansion, like her palatial estate in Scarsdale, New York, because Scarsdale, New York is the richest area in America. And so she has very limited money, and the generation skipping transfer tax came in and took it all. And so she meets this guy who wants to turn this place into a hotel, like an inn. And so that's how the whole thing gets started. And the next book will be the foster child that you meet in this first one. He gets his love story. And that one's called Nouveau Riche. And that one I just put up for pre-order, and I'm starting writing that one now. So for the first time ever, I'm writing 2 books at once. I'm writing the new Birch Creek, and I'm writing this one, kind of like Elena, because I found that if I try to write something I don't feel like writing that day, I get like 1,000 words. If I write something I feel like writing, I can get 5 or 6 or 7,000. So for me, it's more intelligent for me to write the one that I feel the character's talking to me that day and get 7,000 words on whichever project I feel like working on. So I'm doing those 2 series simultaneously right now. And so I don't know exactly when they'll be out. I'm one of those people who sets pre-orders way out, and then I'll move them up when the book is done, because otherwise I get so stressed out that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do this thing. And I have horses and people and a sick dog and a chicken I'm rehabbing, and I can't, so I'm trying not to stress myself out. So they're set way out on pre-order. But anyway, that's fine. So I think we've all talked about it. I just wanted to take a chance for each of us to just take a minute or two and say how much we appreciate our readers, because I was a lawyer and not very happy as a lawyer. I was a happy person. I had a good life, but I didn't like doing contract review and litigation. I didn't like it. And I told my husband I really want to do writing instead. And it has become a reality for our family. It pays for all the horses and all of our trips. And a lot of, I had a horse, and some of you that follow me already know this. I had a horse that got pretty badly injured in October, and the vets and the trainers told us to put him down. And instead we did this really stupid thing and paid for an extraordinarily expensive rehab. And that horse is now galloping out in the pasture, healthy and strong and wonderful. The horse that babysat all of the new writers in our family. That was my husband's horse that has jumped for my daughter, that babysits people I could not have afforded to do that ridiculous and not smart surgery to save Denver if it hadn't been for my readers. It literally was because my husband was like, well, I guess we can use the money from your books for it. And we did. And then over the next few months, the readers have been so wonderful that my career has done better than it ever did before. And I genuinely, like probably most of the women here, I'm religious and I have a lot of faith. And I feel like sometimes blessings in our lives come when we need them. And I did that for Denver, and you guys have blessed my life tremendously. So I just want to say thank you so much to all of our readers for reading our stories, for loving our stories, for making this a job that we can wake up and do. We can go on vacation and write because we like it that much. We're not like stuck doing it. We love to write. I'm happier when I've gotten words. I know Elena is. So I don't know if anyone else wants to say that, but.
Bridget, do you want me to put links as everyone and be like, hey, join Bridget's reader group here?
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyone else who wants to do that? I think what we'll try and start doing is we'll put in some links for the giveaway, because I still see, I know we've put it up a time or two, but maybe we throw in links for that.
I'll put that in while you guys are talking.
And then we can throw in some links for reader groups if you want. I don't know if you guys love Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I think the others have, I know Tess has a Facebook group, and so does Elena. So if we want to share reader groups, if we want to share, we would just love to have you guys follow us. I know a lot of us are busy on Facebook. A lot of us are posting content on YouTube. A lot of us are on Instagram or TikTok or wherever. And we all have newsletters, which you're joining when you sign up for the books. So we're really excited to have you guys there and talk about our books and stuff there.
So I'm going to go next, just because then I don't have to try to think when it's my turn to talk and then find all of your links at the same time. So great. I just put Bridget's reader group in. If I do it on my end of the all-powerful back end, it goes to every destination where we're currently streaming. So yay me, including Esther. So I just put Bridget's up. She has an awesome reader recovery group that you can join, and she does a lot of fun things there. And like she said, her husband pops in and stuff, and that's really fun. I'm putting mine up. Mine is called Feel Good Fiction. So I combined all my brands into Feel Good Fiction, and we have a great time in there where we get to talk about books and horses and cowboys and rom-coms and beaches and all the things that I love and all of the things that you love. Because that's what I love to do, is find out what readers love, because I love my readers and I appreciate you showing up and buying books, reading them in Kindle Unlimited. I'm about 60-40 at this point. 60% of my books are wide available in libraries and wide retailers, and the other 40% are in KU. So I want you all, and I want you to read my books, and I really appreciate it when you do, and I love it when you show up to the live events. You can request to join my reader group there. So then as Tess and Jan and Carrie talk, I know Tess has a specific one, and I think I might have hers, but I want to make sure I put up the right group for you guys. So if you want to drop it in the private chat, I can grab it there, or I can try to find it on Facebook.
Yeah, so my group is called Patio Chat.
I've got that one.
And what is very exciting about that is I am launching my very first ever book club, and Elena's relationship is our first book. Yeah. So we're all reading it together, and we're gonna have her on live, and she's gonna tell us more about it, and we're gonna have all kinds of fun stuff. So that's and my group is kind of smallish, but it's growing a little bit every day. And some of the ladies in there have been with me forever, like since 2011. And it's just a really nice place to be and very safe. And we make sure nobody's, a mean girl. But I'm really excited about the book club thing. So if you're interested in following more about Elena's new book, then you should come on over to Patio Chat. And yes, to reiterate what Bridget said, I mean, I just pinch myself every day that I get to do this. This was my dream. I never, ever thought it would actually happen. And I just find so much joy in telling these stories. And every single time somebody reaches out with an email like, oh, I just, these really helped me get through something, or yeah, I just lost my husband, and, I read this entire series and it just made me feel better, and let me escape or whatever. So we appreciate you all so much. And we also love to hear from you. It makes our day every single time. I mean, I have a little folder where I put all my nice letters that people sent me. And if I'm ever feeling down, I go in there. Oh, yeah, that was a nice one. But anyway, so yes, I guess that's, I just want to reiterate about the other readers. Yeah.
And Tess is very lovable. We love Tess too. I know some of my readers are in here, so big shout out to Nikki and Teresa and Betty. Hello. I always love seeing you on Facebook and everywhere. It's so much fun to see readers who we think of as friends. And we all began as readers. Last night I was over at Warwick's in La Jolla, and Brenda Novak was there. She's on this big Airstream tour.
I fangirled a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And Susan Elizabeth Phillips was there talking to her. And Brenda said, Susan was the one that inspired me to be a writer. And I think all of us here have written for, years, many of us from childhood. And but Brenda Novak was one who inspired me. Brenda and Ellen Hilderbrand and Mary Kay Andrews. And so we all have those, other authors that we love and we look at as friends, and readers, when they discover us, they'll say, oh, your book is like that, or like that, or like that. But we're all unique, and we all have a little different point of view. And one thing I love about reading other authors is that you can hear their voice coming through. And I think that's what's special for our readers. And I love every one of them. But it's like we're having a private conversation with our readers. And when I sit down to write, I think about them, and I think about what would they love to read, or what about this scene? And then I go, they would hate that. They would kill me if I did that. I cannot kill off that love interest, And so I think about, what would bring joy to people. People often ask me, well, where do you get your ideas? And I don't know if any of us know really where we get our ideas. I mean, we do a lot of things for inspiration, but when it comes to sitting down at that keyboard, a lot of times I'm lost, and I just look up and go, I need some guidance here. And I've got people waiting on this, and I know they need some joy in their lives. And so I'm always thinking about who's reading this story on the other side, and how can I help them have a good time in life. So that's what I'm here to do, is to entertain. So thank you all for reading. It means a lot.
I agree.
Who's next?
Carrie.
I don't even know where to start. One of the best things about being an author, I think, is the email responses you get from newsletters. Just because a lot of times I think we try to make those emails personal, to make it feel like we're like literally talking to one of our readers. And when they respond, and it's like a friendship, it's like a back and forth, and you do learn a lot about your readers. And there's some you recognize, like you'll get multiple emails from them like month after month, and it does almost become like a friendship. I have some that send me recipes for canning, because I shared last summer that I was canning pickles, and I got like 3 pickle recipes in the mail, and I love that. It's fun. What other job do you get to do where you can meet so many people worldwide? I mean, I love that. I love the ability to make so many friends, even if they're not close. It's wonderful.
I think that's exactly true. I got an email a couple of days ago from an 83-year-old man who told me that his wife passed away last fall, and he's gone through and read all of my books in the intervening time. And that has been his way to keep from being so lonely. And then he told me a couple of cool things about his family and the children that they raised and his late wife. And I responded to him, and he replied the next day and said, "Oh my goodness, I didn't think I'd ever hear back from you. I can't believe you replied." And I was like, "You're not exactly my target demographic." And it was pretty exciting for me to hear from you that you're reading through all my books and enjoying them. So you got to hear back from me. It was pretty funny. But that email, I took a screenshot and sent it to my husband, and he's like, "That's why you do this. This is a job where when I was a lawyer, I liked the law firms that I worked at, and I learned a lot, but there was a lot of yelling and profanity, and there's a lot of stress and unhappiness in general. And this is occasionally you'll get bad reviews, but for the most part, this is a really neat job where you get to write good things, and then you get to hear good things from the readers that you find. And that's pretty special. It's pretty neat. Not everybody gets to go into a job that they love, and we all do. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being our readers. We love you.
Thank you. And I do have a readers group. I forgot to mention that. It's nothing cute like patio chat test, but I think it's something very generic like Jan Moran's reader group.
And
Elena did drop the comment. She put that in the link.
Oh, okay.
I put it in, so I put it in. So I just went ahead and did it.
You were always on it, Elena. Thank you.
It's probably easy to find Jan's group. You type in Jan Moran and it pops up. Mine is Bridget Baker's Binge Readers Anonymous or something.
It's Reading Recovery, Readers Recovery. Bridget, you should know the name of your own group.
Mine's a lie, because we're not helping anyone recover from reading. So it's a lie.
So I dropped links for everybody. I didn't drop one for Esther. Dang it, I should go find one for Esther.
Yeah, Esther's a hoot in real life, so I bet her reader group is a lot of fun.
I just thought of that. Let me click on her and see. Oh, that took me to our friendship on Facebook. And then maybe I can get that in before we go, but maybe people can just pretend like they're saying, goodbye. I found one called Screen Team.
Goodbye. Oh, man.
I don't know if she wants people going to her Screen Team. That seems like more of a...
I think that's probably an ARC team.
Yeah, that's like an ARC team.
Is that something after it's over we can drop the link in, or we can't?
Well, it wouldn't go to everybody simultaneously.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what? I found her Facebook page, so I'm going to do that.
Share her page. Yeah, that's good.
And then, if she wants people to go to her Scream team, that seemed more like a street team, like talk about my book promotion team, art team, and anyway. Oh yeah, somebody said
just
yes.
Commented and said that they're listening to my Queendom for a Horse. That's my stallion shifter romance. Fantasy fans, go crazy. No, so mine, I do talk about, in my reader group, I talk about the fantasy stuff and the women's fiction. So brace yourself.
So yeah, that's what we've got. Thanks you guys for showing
Thanks
up
for
tonight.
showing up, you guys. This is awesome.
Back to writing.
Yeah.
And good luck on your trip. Have a wonderful time, Jan.
Thanks. Bye-bye.